guys, my name is Lexi from lifeloveandmedicine.com, and I'm a second year medical student, and today I kind of wanted to share with you guys some of the resources that are available for studying throughout the preclinical years. So it can be really difficult in the pre-medical years or preclinical years to use outside resources because there are just so many lectures. So at my school, we get PowerPoint presentations. We can go to class or we can listen to a podcast at home, and then we also have a note-taking service. So we typically are told to get through those lectures at least 4 times before a test and study those. So it can be really difficult to fit in other things, but there are some that I have found useful. But when you're studying, you really want to focus on what's presented in class first and then add on extra resources as time is permitting. So one of the best resources that I've used during my first year of medical school is Anki, A-N-K-I. It is a flashcard app that helps you do spaced repetition learning. So you make your flashcards and then they'll typically let you do 20 new ones a day, and then it repeats them based on your confidence level and how you felt about that. So our tests are usually about a month apart in medical school, or at least at my medical school, so that really worked well for me for long-term learning. So I would highly recommend that. It's free for your computer, and I think it costs about $40 for the app on your phone, but it's really useful. One of the other things that I really like to use are practice questions, and sometimes professors will give us practice questions in their lectures, but most of the time they don't. So I like to use the Board Review series books because at the end of every chapter in those books they have questions that help you review the material. And I usually save that for right before the test, so I'm kind of in that testing mode, and I think that those questions are usually about the same difficulty as our tests. So I highly recommend those, but I don't usually read the chapters in the BRS books because there's always so much to do. I usually only have time to do the BRS questions. Another resource is First Aid, which you've probably heard about, is a big study guide for the USMLE Step 1 test. And First Aid is really meant for studying for that test, but I do find that it can be useful sometimes for mnemonics, for studying for classes. Usually during class, we're learning so much more information than First Aid has because we're expected to know more for our tests during school than for the actual STEP exam. So I don't use it heavily. I usually just, if there's a topic that I'm having a really hard time memorizing, I might look for a useful mnemonic in First Aid. One other book that I like to use is Pathoma, and it's also geared towards studying for USMLE, but it comes with the subscription to it comes with videos, and I really like to listen to those because I find pathology kind of difficult to learn because it's very detailed. So I like to read the book and get the core facts and then listen to the videos, usually along with my lectures in pathology. Some other subscription resources that are out there are Picmonic and Sketchy Medical. I used Picmonic first during my first year of med school, and I liked the idea of it, but I didn't end up liking it as much as school went on. So what Picmonic does is that it has these funny sketches that are meant to help you memorize different facts about so many topics. I think the website says they cover about 70% of first aid. And the reason I didn't like this resource was because the stories that they make up to go along with the sketches don't make sense, and the sketches are usually a bunch of characters together, but the scene isn't cohesive. So that's why I ended up not using it as much as I thought I would. Towards the end of my first year, Sketchy Farm was released and Sketchy Micro had already existed. So I started looking at those before second year started to see if that might be a resource that I would want to use, because we start second year with microbiology, and I actually like it a lot better because the scenes are cohesive. All of the characters that they use to help you memorize facts fit into the scene, and they don't try to tell a silly story, but because the scene is more cohesive, it helps me remember it better. So I do highly recommend that for microbiology and pharmacology, which are the only two subjects they have currently available. So as I said before, it can be really difficult to fit in outside resources as you're studying for your test, but I think that they can be useful if you save them sort of for the end, right before you're studying for the test, with the exception of Anki, because you use that throughout to study flashcards for spaced repetition. But for the other resources, I recommend kind of saving those for the end. Make sure that you're getting through your lectures as many times as you need to before you turn to other resources. So if you have any other questions about resources, let me know. You can drop a comment below, or you can send me an email at lifeloveandmedicine@gmail.com. And I hope that you like these videos. Let me know what other videos you might be interested in, and be sure to subscribe. Bye.